Woman's car attacks a strange dog. What she does next will make you cry. The morning sun cast long shadows across Main Street in the quiet town of Willow Creek, nestled amidst the rolling hills of Vermont. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the ancient oak trees lining the sidewalks, carrying the scent of freshly cut grass and blooming wildflowers. Amidst this idyllic scene, a small brown and white terrier mix named Scout darted across the road, his tail wagging excitedly as he chased a mischievous squirrel. He was a familiar sight in Willow Creek, a friendly stray who roamed the streets, charming the locals with his playful antics and gentle nature. Suddenly, a blue sedan rounded the corner, his driver distracted by a phone call. Scout, caught in the headlights, froze in panic. The screech of tires pierced the morning calm, followed by a sickening thud. The driver, a young woman named Emily, slammed on the brakes, her heart pounding in her chest. She stumbled out of the car, her eyes wide with horror as she saw Scout lying motionless in the middle of the road. Emily rushed to Scout's side, her hands trembling as she checked for a pulse. She felt a faint heartbeat, a flicker of life amidst the tragedy. Relief washed over her, followed by a surge of guilt and responsibility. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, gently scooping Scout into her arms. His small body was limp, his breathing shallow. Emily knew she had to get him help immediately. She carefully placed Scout in the passenger seat of her car and sped towards the only veterinary clinic in Willow Creek, her mind racing with worry and self-reproach. She prayed that it wasn't too late, that she could somehow make amends for the pain she had caused. Emily arrived at Willow Creek Veterinary Clinic with a heart full of dread. She rushed through the doors, Scout cradled in her arms, his shallow breaths barely perceptible. The receptionist, a kind-faced woman named Martha, immediately recognized the urgency of the situation. "Dr. Anderson will see you right away," Martha said, ushering Emily into an examination room. Minutes later, Dr. Anderson, a tall, silver-haired man with a gentle demeanor, entered the room. He carefully examined Scout, his brow furrowed in concern. "He has a broken leg and several fractured ribs," Dr. Anderson explained, his voice grave. "He's also suffering from shock and internal bleeding." Emily's heart sank. She felt a wave of nausea wash over her, the weight of her responsibility bearing down on her. "Will he be okay?" she asked, her voice trembling. Dr. Anderson hesitated. "It's too early to say," he replied. "We'll do everything we can, but his injuries are severe. He'll need surgery and round-the-clock care." Emily nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. "Please, Dr. Anderson, save him," she pleaded. "I'll do whatever it takes." Dr. Anderson placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll do our best, Emily," he said, "but we need you to be strong for him. He needs your support now more than ever." Emily took a deep breath, steeling herself for the long road ahead. She knew she couldn't undo the accident, but she could dedicate herself to Scout's recovery. She would be his advocate, his caregiver, his source of comfort during this difficult time. News of Scout's accident spread quickly through the close-knit community of Willow Creek. Residents, touched by the stray dog's plight, rallied around him, offering support and assistance to Emily and the veterinary clinic. Mrs. Patterson, the owner of the local bakery, brought over a basket filled with homemade dog treats and a handwritten card expressing her well wishes. Mr. Johnson, a retired carpenter, offered to build a custom wheelchair for Scout once he was strong enough to move around. The children from Willow Creek Elementary School, where Scout often visited during recess, drew colorful get-well cards and sent them to the clinic, their heartfelt messages filling the waiting room with warmth and cheer. Emily was overwhelmed by the outpouring of support. She realized that Scout was more than just a stray dog. He was a beloved member of the community, a symbol of resilience and unconditional love. One afternoon, a group of teenagers from the local high school visited the clinic. They had organized a fundraising car wash to help cover Scout's medical expenses. Emily watched as they worked tirelessly, their laughter and chatter filling the air, their youthful energy a beacon of hope. She realized that Scout's accident had not only brought the community together but had also sparked a wave of compassion and generosity. It was as if the small dog, through his suffering, had awakened a dormant spirit of kindness within the hearts of the townspeople. Days turned into weeks, and Scout slowly began to show signs of improvement. His fractured ribs healed, and the cast on his leg was replaced with a lighter splint. He started to eat with more enthusiasm, his tail wagging weakly as Emily sat by his side, reading to him from her favorite book of poetry. However, the road to recovery was long and arduous. Scout's internal injuries had taken a toll, and he remained weak and listless. He often whimpered in his sleep, haunted by the trauma of the accident. Emily dedicated herself to Scout's care, spending countless hours at the clinic, comforting him, encouraging him, and celebrating every small victory. She learned to interpret his subtle cues, anticipating his needs and soothing his anxieties. Dr. Anderson was impressed by Emily's dedication. He had witnessed countless cases of animal injuries, but he had rarely seen such a profound connection between a human and an animal. He knew that Emily's presence was as vital to Scout's recovery as any medical intervention. One evening, as Emily was preparing to leave the clinic, Scout reached out with his paw and gently touched her hand. It was a small gesture, but it spoke volumes. It was a gesture of gratitude, of trust, of a bond forged through shared adversity. Emily's heart swelled with emotion. She realized that Scout had not only become a part of her life, but had also taught her the true meaning of compassion and resilience. She was no longer just the driver who had accidentally hit him. She was his protector, his advocate, his friend. While Scout's physical wounds were gradually healing, the emotional scars of the accident lingered. He remained skittish and anxious, flinching at sudden movements and loud noises. He was hesitant to venture outside, his once adventurous spirit dampened by fear. Emily recognized that Scout's trauma ran deep. She consulted with Dr. Anderson, who recommended a gentle approach to rehabilitation, focusing on building trust and confidence. He suggested introducing Scout to new environments gradually, rewarding him with praise and treats for every step forward. Emily began by taking Scout for short walks in the quiet park behind the clinic. She spoke to him in soothing tones, reassuring him that he was safe and loved. She encouraged him to explore his surroundings, praising him for every sniff and wag of his tail. Slowly but surely, Scout began to regain his confidence. He started to wag his tail more often, his eyes regaining their sparkle. He even ventured into the nearby woods, sniffing at the trees and chasing butterflies with renewed enthusiasm. One day, while walking through the park, Scout encountered a group of children playing frisbee. He hesitated at first, his ears flattening against his head, but then, with a burst of his old spirit, he bounded towards them, barking playfully. The children were delighted, their laughter echoing through the park as they tossed the frisbee for Scout to chase. Emily watched with a smile, her heart filled with joy. She realized that Scout was not only healing physically but also emotionally. He was rediscovering the joy of life, the simple pleasures that had once been taken from him. As Scout continued to heal, Emily faced a difficult decision. She had grown deeply attached to the dog, but she knew she couldn't keep him. Her apartment was too small, and her busy work schedule didn't allow her the time and attention Scout needed. She considered finding him a new home, but the thought of parting with him filled her with sadness. She had come to rely on his companionship, his presence a constant reminder of her own resilience and capacity for compassion. One evening, while discussing her dilemma with Dr. Anderson, he offered a surprising solution. "Why don't you let Scout stay with me?" he suggested. "I have a spacious house with a large backyard, and my children would love to have a dog." Emily's face lit up. "That's a wonderful idea," she exclaimed. "But are you sure you're up for the responsibility?" Dr. Anderson smiled. "I've been thinking about getting a dog for a while now," he admitted. "And Scout seems like the perfect fit. He's gentle, affectionate, and he clearly adores you. I think he would thrive in a loving home environment." Emily agreed to give it a try. She spent the next few days helping Scout settle into his new home, introducing him to Dr. Anderson's children, Sarah and Ben, and teaching them how to care for him. Sarah and Ben were thrilled to have Scout in their lives. They took him for walks in the woods, played fetch in the backyard, and showered him with affection. Scout, in turn, responded with enthusiastic tail wags and playful licks, his heart filled with gratitude for his newfound family. Emily visited Scout regularly, bringing him his favorite treats and sharing stories of her day. She watched with pride as he blossomed in his new environment, his fears and anxieties fading into distant memories. Life with the Anderson family brought a new set of challenges for Scout. He had to adjust to living with children, learning the boundaries of playful interaction and navigating the occasional accidental step on his paw. He also had to contend with Dr. Anderson's cat, Mittens, a sleek Siamese with a haughty demeanor and a penchant for territoriality. Initially, Mittens viewed Scout with suspicion. Her green eyes narrowed in disdain as she observed the canine intruder from atop the bookshelf. Scout, eager to make friends, attempted to engage her in play, but his enthusiastic tail wags and playful bows were met with hissing and swatting claws. Dr. Anderson, ever the patient mediator, intervened, establishing clear boundaries and providing separate spaces for the two animals to retreat when feeling overwhelmed. He also encouraged positive interactions, rewarding them with treats and praise when they exhibited tolerance or even a hint of affection towards each other. Gradually, a truce emerged. Mittens, realizing that Scout posed no threat to her reign as queen of the household, began to tolerate his presence, even occasionally deigning to share a sunny spot on the windowsill. Scout, ever the optimist, continued to offer playful overtures, hoping that one day they might become friends. One evening, a storm raged through Willow Creek, the wind howling like a banshee and thunderclaps shaking the very foundation of the house. Scout, terrified by the cacophony, sought refuge under Dr. Anderson's bed, his body trembling uncontrollably. To everyone's surprise, Mittens emerged from her hiding spot and approached Scout, rubbing her head against his back and purring softly. Scout, comforted by her unexpected gesture of solidarity, gradually calmed down, his fear subsiding as he nestled against the warmth of the cat's fur. The storm passed, leaving behind a sense of calm and a newfound understanding between the two unlikely companions. They had weathered the storm together, their differences forgotten in the face of shared vulnerability. Despite the comfort and stability of his new home, Scout was still haunted by the trauma of his accident. He remained wary of cars, flinching whenever one passed by the house. He also exhibited signs of separation anxiety whenever Emily or Dr. Anderson left for work, pacing restlessly and whining at the door. Dr. Anderson, recognizing the depth of Scout's emotional scars, consulted with a veterinary behaviorist. The specialist recommended a combination of desensitization therapy and medication to help manage Scout's anxiety. Emily, determined to support Scout through this difficult period, adjusted her work schedule to spend more time with him. She took him on long walks in the quiet countryside, away from the noise and bustle of traffic. She also practiced leaving him alone for short periods, gradually increasing the duration as he became more comfortable. One afternoon, while walking through the woods, Scout suddenly froze, his body trembling, his eyes fixated on a figure emerging from the trees. It was a tall, burly man with a gruff expression, his face obscured by a thick beard. Scout let out a low growl, his hackles rising. Emily, sensing his fear, immediately stepped in front of him, shielding him from the stranger's gaze. "It's okay, Scout," she said soothingly, her voice firm. "I'm here. You're safe." The man approached them cautiously, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. "I'm not going to hurt him," he said, his voice surprisingly gentle. "I just wanted to say hello. He looks a lot like a dog I used to have." Emily hesitated, unsure whether to trust him. But Scout, after a moment of tense scrutiny, wagged his tail tentatively. The man smiled, his gruff exterior melting away. "His name was Buddy," he said, his voice thick with emotion. He was my best friend. We did everything together." He recounted stories of his adventures with Buddy, his voice filled with love and longing. Emily listened intently, realizing that this man, despite his intimidating appearance, harbored a deep affection for animals. As the man turned to leave, he paused, his eyes meeting Emily's. "Thank you for taking care of him," he said. "He deserves a good home." Emily watched him disappear into the woods, a sense of peace washing over her. She realized that Scout's past trauma had not only affected him but had also touched the lives of others, creating unexpected connections and fostering empathy. The encounter with the man in the woods sparked a new awareness in Emily. She realized that Scout's story was not just about his recovery, but also about the interconnectedness of lives, human and animal alike. She felt a growing sense of responsibility, not only for Scout's well-being but also for the welfare of other animals in need. Inspired by Dr. Anderson's dedication to his patients and the community's support for Scout, Emily decided to become more actively involved in animal rescue. She began volunteering at the local animal shelter, assisting with cleaning kennels, walking dogs, and socializing cats. She was struck by the number of abandoned and neglected animals, each with their own story of hardship and resilience. She felt a deep empathy for these creatures, recognizing in their eyes a reflection of Scout's own vulnerability and longing for love. One day, while working at the shelter, Emily came across a timid, emaciated German Shepherd cowering in the corner of a kennel. The dog's fur was matted and dirty, its ribs visible beneath its skin. Its eyes held a deep sadness, a testament to a life of hardship and neglect. Emily's heart ached for the dog. She approached it cautiously, speaking in soft, reassuring tones. The dog flinched at first, but then, as Emily continued to offer gentle strokes and kind words, it slowly began to relax, its tail giving a tentative wag. Emily learned that the dog had been found wandering the streets, abandoned and malnourished. It had been at the shelter for weeks, overlooked by potential adopters due to its timid nature and uncertain past. Emily felt a connection with the dog, recognizing in its vulnerability a reflection of Scout's own journey. She decided to foster the dog, hoping to provide it with the love and care it needed to heal and regain its trust in humans. She named the dog Hope, a symbol of her own newfound purpose and a testament to the resilience of the animal spirit. Bringing Hope home presented a new set of challenges for Emily. The German Shepherd was timid and distrustful, flinching at sudden movements and cowering at the sound of raised voices. She had clearly experienced trauma, and Emily was determined to provide her with the safe and nurturing environment she needed to heal. Emily drew upon her experience with Scout, employing the same patient and gentle approach that had helped him overcome his fears. She spent hours sitting with Hope, speaking softly and offering reassuring touches. She took her for walks in quiet areas, avoiding crowded places and loud noises. Gradually, Hope began to respond to Emily's kindness. She started to wag her tail tentatively, her eyes losing their fearful glint. She ventured out of her safe spaces, exploring the apartment with cautious curiosity. One evening, as Emily sat on the couch reading, Hope approached her hesitantly, her head lowered in a gesture of submission. Emily reached out and gently stroked Hope's fur, her touch light and reassuring. Hope leaned into the touch, her body relaxing as she closed her eyes in contentment. In that moment, a bond of understanding was formed. Emily recognized in Hope's vulnerability a reflection of her own struggles with anxiety and self-doubt. She saw in Hope's resilience a testament to the enduring strength of the animal spirit. Emily's dedication to Hope did not go unnoticed. Her friends and colleagues admired her compassion and commitment to animal welfare. They offered their support, donating food and supplies, and even volunteering to help with Hope's care. Emily realized that her journey with Scout had not only transformed her own life, but had also inspired others to act with kindness and compassion towards animals in need. She felt a sense of purpose, a calling to be a voice for the voiceless, a champion for those who had been abandoned and forgotten. Emily's dedication to Hope extended beyond providing basic care. She recognized that Hope's emotional scars ran deep, requiring specialized attention to heal. She consulted with a canine behaviorist, who recommended a combination of desensitization therapy and confidence-building exercises. Emily diligently followed the therapist's guidance, patiently exposing Hope to gradually increasing levels of stimuli, rewarding her with praise and treats for every positive response. She enrolled Hope in obedience classes, where the dog learned basic commands and socialized with other dogs in a controlled environment. Hope thrived under Emily's care and guidance. She blossomed into a confident and affectionate companion, her fear and anxiety replaced by a playful spirit and a deep trust in her human caregiver. Emily's commitment to Hope's rehabilitation inspired others in the community. Word of her dedication spread, and soon, she was receiving calls from people seeking advice on how to help their own rescued animals overcome trauma and behavioral issues. Emily realized that her experience with Scout and Hope had equipped her with valuable knowledge and insights. She decided to share her expertise, offering workshops and seminars on animal rescue and rehabilitation. Her presentations were well received, her passion for animal welfare resonating with audiences. She emphasized the importance of patience, understanding, and empathy in helping animals heal from past trauma. She stressed the need for responsible pet ownership, advocating for spaying and neutering to reduce the number of unwanted animals. Emily's advocacy extended beyond the local community. She became involved in fundraising efforts for animal shelters and rescue organizations, using her platform to raise awareness about the plight of abandoned and neglected animals. She also lobbied for stricter animal cruelty laws, working tirelessly to ensure that those who harmed animals were held accountable for their actions. Emily's efforts did not go unnoticed. She was recognized by local and national organizations for her contributions to animal welfare. She received awards and accolades, but her greatest reward was witnessing the transformation of rescued animals like Scout and Hope, their eyes reflecting the love and compassion that had been extended to them. Years passed, and Willow Creek bore witness to the enduring impact of Scout's accident. Emily, now a respected figure in the animal welfare community, continued to champion the cause of abandoned and neglected animals. She established a foundation in Scout's name, providing financial support to shelters and rescue organizations across the country. The foundation also funded educational programs, promoting responsible pet ownership and raising awareness about animal cruelty. Emily's workshops and seminars became sought-after events, her compassionate approach and practical advice resonating with audiences of all ages. Scout, now a senior dog with a touch of gray around his muzzle, remained a beloved member of the Anderson family. He had become a therapy dog, visiting hospitals and nursing homes, bringing comfort and joy to those in need. His gentle presence and unwavering loyalty had a profound impact on countless lives, proving that even the smallest creature could leave a lasting legacy of love. Hope, too, had found her purpose. She worked alongside Emily as a search and rescue dog, her keen sense of smell and unwavering determination helping to locate lost hikers and stranded individuals. Her courage and compassion had earned her the admiration of the community, her story a testament to the transformative power of second chances. One crisp autumn day, Emily returned to the spot where Scout's accident had occurred. The once quiet street was now bustling with activity, new shops and cafes lining the sidewalks. Yet, amidst the changes, the memory of that fateful morning remained vivid in Emily's mind. As she stood there, reflecting on the journey that had begun with a tragic accident, a young girl approached her, a small brown and white terrier mix trotting by her side. The girl's eyes sparkled with admiration as she recognized Emily. "You're Emily, the animal rescuer," she exclaimed. "My mom told me all about you and Scout. You inspired her to adopt Buddy here from the shelter." Emily smiled, her heart swelling with emotion. She knelt down and patted Buddy's head, his tail wagging enthusiastically in response. In that moment, she realized that the ripple effects of Scout's accident had extended far beyond her own life, creating a legacy of compassion that would continue to inspire generations to come. The sun began to set, casting a golden glow over Willow Creek. Emily watched as the girl and her dog walked away, their silhouettes fading into the twilight. She knew that Scout's story, a tale of resilience, redemption, and the enduring bond between humans and animals, would forever be etched in the heart of the community.